So how do you grow tender plants if you don't have a greenhouse? How can you get them through winter? In this video, I'm going to show you how to protect tender, tropical and exotic plants using 5 techniques without needing a heated greenhouse. Now there's one thing you need to remember. All of this is just guidance. There is no hard and fast rule. It all depends where you are growing your garden. I'm in zone 9. Sometimes we get harsh winters and sometimes we get mild winters, but it's always good to have the knowledge on how you can protect your tender, exotic and tropical plants without a greenhouse. Right, let's get started. So one of the easiest methods to protecting tender plants in winter without a greenhouse is just to use a material called horticultural fleece. Now this is a material that is breathable, so it's not going to trap any moisture in and around the plant, which is going to cause rot. But it's thick enough to provide a protective layer around the plant, and it's going to create a microclimate that should be just enough to keep any damaging frosts away. And it's good because it means you can protect your plants in situ. And by that I mean you don't have to move them at all. Leave them in the ground where they're happily growing. And every time a frost is forecast, you just get your fleece, and sometimes I will double up my horticultural fleece just to make it a little bit thicker, and you just drape it over the plant. Now when you do this, make sure every part of the plant is covered, and then just use garden twine or string to tie it around the base, and that should be enough to hold it in place. Now if there are strong winds forecast as well as cold, then I'd recommend putting some rocks or bricks on the base of the fleece to hold it in place. But that will be enough to keep the frost away in temperatures perhaps down to -5 degrees Celsius. And this has worked really well in my garden for half-hardy or tender exotic shrubs that I grow. When there is a forecast of frost, I will come out and I've got separate pieces of fleece and I will throw them over the plants, and honestly it's super easy and really effective. Now the second way to overwinter tender plants without a greenhouse is one that I can demonstrate on this Impatiens. Now this is Impatiens auricoma cross bicordata, which is a fantastic hybrid that originates from islands around Madagascar. Now I don't get a Madagascan climate here in Britain, so this is not going to survive winter, but it is easy to grow from cuttings. So my second technique is to take cuttings as backup plants. Now I will actually leave this parent plant outside because I'm short on space. But cuttings are so much more space saving to overwinter plants, and something like an Impatiens will root really easily from cuttings, and they grow quickly in spring. I've actually done a whole video on propagating these plants, so I will put a link in the corner of this video and in the description. Now this doesn't work for all plants, but plants that do root easily from cuttings, it's definitely worth getting backup plants, and you can overwinter your tender plants without needing a greenhouse. I will just put this in a jar of water on my kitchen windowsill, and come spring it's ready to be potted up. Now the third technique I use to overwinter tender plants without a greenhouse, I can also show you on this plant. Now some of the tender plants in your garden will produce seeds, and seeds is nature's natural way to overcome long tough periods, especially winters. It's a plant's natural dormancy, and this Impatiens is covered in seed pods and it grows quickly from seed. Now plants like Dahlias will also produce seed, and so many other tender plants. So it's definitely worth keeping your eye open and seeing if your flowers get pollinated. You'll see seed pods swelling, and seeds is a fantastic way to overwinter your plants, because when I say a cutting is space saving, well a seed is even more space saving, and you can just store them in your fridge or somewhere cool and dark and dry, ready for spring sowing. So on to technique number 4, and that for me is making use of existing microclimates in your garden. Now I'm sat in front of this brick wall. If you have a brick wall or a wall, which I expect most of your houses do, one of them is going to be getting sun, and brick holds on to heat. It spends all day warming up in sunlight, even in winter sunlight, and throughout night time the heat is slowly released from those building materials. It's the same for slabs on your patio or gravel on your courtyard. It all heats up throughout the day. So if you can put plants up against a surface like this brick wall, they're going to be protected more than they would be out in the open, because the heat that's coming off of the wall or other hard landscaping materials is going to produce a warmer microclimate at night. Now this is something I take advantage of so much for the tender plants in my garden. So in winter I keep my aeoniums, my slightly hardier succulents, my butylon, which are half hardy, I push them all right up against the wall all winter and they stay out in the open, but that wall just keeps the temperature a degree or two higher and tends to keep frost away. And so we come on to my fifth technique for overwintering tender plants without a greenhouse. And it's really, really simple. Just put them into a container and bring them indoors through winter to grow as a houseplant. Now, not all plants will grow happily indoors through winter because of things that stress them out, like central heating. But anything that's got thick leaves like bananas, aralia, bromeliads tend to be happy growing indoors as houseplants for 3 or 4 months until the weather's suitable for them to be outside again. Hopefully, watching this video has given you hope that you can protect your tender, tropical and exotic plants without needing a greenhouse. And once you understand how to do this, you're going to have more confidence to grow more weird and wonderful plants every year. Thank you so much for watching, and if you've enjoyed this video, hit that subscribe button, leave a comment and give it a thumbs up. It really helps this channel grow. And feel free to check out my UK plant and seed shop, and maybe join the Grow Paradise Seed Club where you can grow some of these weird and wonderful plants from seed. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you all in the next video.